Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we have entered day 189 of the ongoing Russia-Ukrainian war. So, again, over the past 24, 48 hours, some fairly big developments. We are covering day 188 and 189 in this video. Apparently, all sides are now confirming this fairly significant Ukrainian counterattack that is now occurring. Now, initial reports of the offensive were widespread among various Ukrainian sources. And then we noticed things started to pipe down a little bit, and we believe that is based on the possible lack of success that said operation has had by the Ukrainian forces in this ongoing operation. But it has not been without success either. We do understand it's a fairly large offensive operation, probably one of the largest offensive operations the Ukrainians have mounted to date. It is, in all likelihood, a multi-brigade operation expanding the entire footprint of the western bank of the Dnieper River. If we kind of zoom in close here, the blue lines that you see here are indicative of a current attack route by the Ukrainian army. The lighter colors are previous operations by the Ukrainian military as well. And as we scroll up, and we're going to move from a north by northeasterly direction, analyzing what is happening along this front. And you can see here over the Inuits River, the Ukrainian forces have apparently been able to set up pontoon bridges over some parts of this and cross into this area and pushing back Russian forces and initially penetrating the front line of the line of contact where Russian forces are. The biggest area that the Ukrainians have found success is up here in the kind of the northeastern quadrant, where they're kind of pushing down the Dnieper River, trying to roll up Russian forces. Now, that is about as far as they have gotten over the past 24, 48 hours. There are reports that Ukrainian forces have incurred incredible losses in this ongoing campaign. The Russians are reporting that well over 100 Ukrainian armored vehicles have been destroyed, and reports the Russians are reporting that up to 1,200 Ukrainian service members have been killed in the last 24 to 48 hours since this offensive has started. Now, if we take those losses and we temper those losses, let's say we cut those losses in half, and now we're looking at 600 Ukrainian KIA in a matter of just of several hours, several dozen hours. Those are still quite significant losses if we look at what the Ukrainian forces have lost in the course of one day through the entire conflict. Usually those losses right now, from what we understand, are roughly 30 KIA on up to about 100 KIA, depending on the intensity of said operation. So if we're actually looking at 300 on the low end, 600 probably on the reasonable end, and if you acknowledge what the Russians are saying could be correct in terms of 1,200, well, that would be incredible losses for the Ukrainians if we find out that is actually true. But right now it appears the Ukrainians are going rather silent about what is happening on the ground. You're not hearing a lot. The political leadership inside of Ukraine is more or less not wanting to talk about this ongoing operation, and outside of the initial announcement by the military side of the equation, which is kind of strange if you look at it, where the military is more open to talk about it than the actual political side of the Ukrainian state is seems to be unwilling to talk about the ongoing offensive operation. But we'll have to see how this pans out. Again, I'm sticking by what I had to say earlier in my previous video, that it's just it's probably outside the capability of the Ukrainian military to push the Russians out of their western bank hold of the area in and around the city of Kherson. And this is this area here that we are talking about. It is the western footprint on the western bank of the Dnieper River, in which the offensive operation is in question right now. But again, very early. If this operation continues, we'll have to see exactly what happens. It would be very difficult, number one, for Ukrainian forces to continue without any sort of air supremacy, especially given the flatness of this terrain. We'll go into the legend here real quick, where you, the viewer, can see exactly what the terrain looks like. And this is not a heavy foliaged area like you would see near Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. These are open fields, and the Russians are going to have the ability to bring in their low-flying Su-25s, their K-52s, their Hind attack helicopter gunships, even their Havocs, and in all probability cause quite a few casualties against Ukrainian forces. We know the Ukrainians have launched low-flying airstrikes, and the Russians continue to use its tactical air assets against Ukrainian forces in this ongoing operation. But again, the terrain is very much the type of terrain that you would use in large mechanized warfare, or have the ability to bring in tactical air assets and strike tanks and armored infantry fighting vehicles that may be in the open pressing towards whatever objectives those may be. So we're going to continue to watch very closely to this area, this crossing that the Ukrainians have made, going from the Mykolaiv Oblast to the Kherson Oblast. But again, it will be interesting to see what exactly the Ukrainians are trying to do. There's really no town. There's a small town here, but you can clearly see this salient is forming, and I would anticipate that the Russians would counterattack fairly quickly. At least we are seeing at least the use of tactical air assets by the Russians in engaging those Ukrainian forces that are pushing forward. And again, we'll continue to watch areas to the northeast as well, as the Ukrainians attempt this push into the Kherson area of operation. And again, as always, we will continue to monitor, we will continue to report, and bring you information as we get it. Thank you very much, and as always, have a good day.